to the Life and Listings podcast. This is going to be a fun one because I've got Travis here. Hey, Travis, thanks for joining us.
Hi, it was a pleasure. I am super excited to be here. I really appreciate you asking me to be here.
Oh my gosh. Well, for those listeners that don't know you yet, because you should, because Travis is just super awesome and hilarious at the same time. Hopefully we keep this PG enough because usually has no...
I won't swear. No swearing to be involved.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you doing now? What have you been up to?
Oh man, I'm currently managing about 60 plus databases in Follow Boss for a lot of the big teams around the country, running their ISA department in a sense. Most of them don't have ISAs, so we are their ISA. But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing right now, being a part of Digital Maverick, Easy Home Search, and Reside, all three of my favorite things. So yeah, that's it. That's really it.
What did you do before all of this? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started as an ISA about 7 years ago in a wonderful city called Idaho Falls, Idaho. Very small. I don't think it's really a small town now. I actually live in a smaller town now, which is funny enough. But Idaho, of all places, very cold, really, really, really cold. It snows like 9 months out of the year. It's miserable, really miserable. Now that I think about that, yeah, there's a reason why I moved to Myrtle Beach. As an ISA, when I was in ISA, Idaho Falls, I really loved it. Everybody was like, oh yeah, just wait till you're an agent. I was like, I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. I do not want to be one of those. I would like to just be an ISA forever. They're like, yeah, but you can't make as much as an agent. I'm like, really? That's not fun or fair, I guess. I was like, I don't want this to be like everyone's always called the stepping stone into real estate was the ISA position. But I was like, I'm just an ISA. I always want to be one. That's it, really. You know what I mean? So taking that and then moving into Myrtle Beach and South Carolina, I was able to go into another ISA position, just move from one KW team to another. And then I was able to grow and expand from there and able to take over that team and being really successful with it. So it was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like, I almost feel like it should be opposite some of the time, right? Because I feel like the ISA position to me is the hardest position on a team.
Thank you. I agree. I appreciate that you agree. No, to me personally, I feel like it is for certain people, like solo agents. Solo agents are dogs because they are their own ISA. You know what I mean? It's interesting. So our most successful team is a single agent because we just tee them up opportunities and they just go with it. So it works out really well that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, and so one of the points I wanted to touch on today, because I just feel like this is so needed, is just talking about conversion, because I think so many agents, whether they're a single agent, they're on a team, or maybe it's even a team leader or a broker listening, what tips can you give agents on conversion? How can they kind of master that and improve that?
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you all the sweet little one-liners like inspect what you expect or skills make deeds, all that type of stuff. But no, I mean, it really boils down to just making sure that people are staying in action and doing the right thing, like making sure that they're following up with their leads on the perfect time, making sure that their systems are all matched and uniform the way that they need to, because people will talk about conversion, but I think a lot of the time it's a lie. Like, oh, we have a 30% conversion rate or we have a 10% conversion rate. It's like, no, you really don't. Because if you can't really go back to the beginning when this lead came in, or you have to be doing it on a small sample, because what if that lead converts in 5 years from now? Like, you know what I mean? You don't necessarily know, but it's conversion rates and things like that. And you'll hear me talk about it a lot, but to me, it's just a lie. Just focus on the things you're trying to do. Just focus on getting the deals done. You know what I mean? It's more as you can boil it down to just making sure you're doing the right thing, staying in action, and inspecting what you expect. And if you expect closings, then inspect the people that you're setting opportunities for and making sure that you have deals going to the right, or making sure you have opportunities going to the right people. So that's really what it comes down to.
So it sounds like you're super focused on the actual back end, the system you're setting up before it's even getting to a call. You're mentioning the system. So let's dig into that a little bit. What is your expectation if we're talking about teams? What's your expectation of the system that you need to have whether it's agents or an ISA or whoever you have in your CRM doing calls, what's a basis of what you need set up?
So I always call it just the agent day in the life. You need just a one pager that tells you the definition of every stage that you have in your system, and then the definition of every smart list you have in your system.
Yep.
Something that goes together where it's easy, digestible for an agent to look at, third grade reading level. You know what I mean? It's something simple, very simple, the more simple your system is, the easier it is for you to close deals. Because once you really boil real estate down, it's just talk to more people, sell more homes, make more money. Like that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So a lot of the gaps that we see in databases is their smart lists don't match their stages, or they're too critical on what the filters are and things like that. And it's just like last call made, stage A. Like just that's all you need. Last call made more than X amount of days, stage B. It's like, that can't get much simpler than that. Like, doesn't need to be anything crazy. It doesn't matter if it's a sphere of influence lead or a team generated lead, just a person that, and I mean, people say leads a lot, but they're people. They want to buy or sell real estate. You have to humanize them. You know what I mean? You have to really make it, like, you really have to understand that they are someone that has wants, interests, and needs, or wins, as we'd call them. You know what I mean? So
I think that's really important, right? Because we all treat leads like, I just got off a call right before this. We're working through someone's follow-up boss, and it's like we're all looking at this list of leads, and I think a lot of it is forgetting that there's a human being on the other side that like put their contact information on your website or Zillow or wherever they are. Yep. And then you're just like, I'm just gonna put them in this bucket, or I'm just gonna attempt to call them or whatever. And it's like, well, did you actually think about what they originally asked about or the information you have on them? I mean, how are you training your ISAs in that regard, like the human aspect of making calls and being an ISA?
Yeah, so I mean, we talk about it a lot, and you'll hear Nikki talk about it sometimes on calls, but like there's no really any script that we follow. It's just have a normal conversation with someone and just get to know them on a basic, like just on a human nature level, like try to really understand what they're looking to do in life. Yeah. Really understand. If you can do that, you're going to win them over 9 out of 10 times. And then at that point, all it comes down to is just following up, but we don't talk about it enough, but really following through on what you're going to do. Can't tell you how many times people place people in certain stages, and then you get into their database in 90 days plus, and you're like, you were supposed to follow up with them in 14 days. And I just got so busy. And it's just like not really following through on what you said you were going to do. It's like you put them in that stage for a reason. That means you're going to follow up in X amount of days, and therefore you haven't done that. You really expect them to do business with you. It's like you can't expect them to. You were going to hope that they will, just because of that first call, which if it went well, they might. Not saying they won't, but there's a good chance that there's another agent on the other side of the market or another side of your city that's probably 10 times better than you are at following up. And they're going to end up winning them over just because they're consistent and persistent. So
yeah,
it's consistent, persistent, the same word. Does that mean the same thing? Have I just been saying that this whole time and it's the exact same thing?
I feel like it's a little different.
Oh, is it? Persistent? Being persistent? Just pestering someone kind of?
Like persistent, I feel like is like you're pestering someone, and consistent is like you always do the exact same thing,
which technically is being very persistent if you're going to be consistent.
You could argue that.
Okay, cool. All right, that would give you. I will give me that.
Google it. I'm going to literally Google it after we get off, and I'm going to show you the actual meaning for the difference, but it's definitely different.
I got the argument with someone yesterday about bi-weekly, so that was a whole nother thing. Bi-weekly.
What is your thought? Like, what do you think bi-weekly means?
Bi-weekly means, let me see here.
Are you Googling it? No.
I'm reading the message that they sent me because they were like, we're both right. It is done, produced, or occurring every 2 weeks or twice a week.
Oh.
That makes absolutely no sense. It says a periodical that appears every 2 weeks or twice a week. So bi-weekly. That makes no sense.
I think bi-weekly.
That's every other week.
Every other week is how I use bi-weekly.
So do I. I never met anybody that would use it twice weekly.
No, I need to know who was arguing.
Yeah. She'll be coming on DCM soon. So you know what I mean? It's a great time. So we'll figure it out. But yes, so she sent it to me after the call and goes, we were both right. I'm like, that can't be real. I hate that we're both right because that doesn't make sense.
Right? That just doesn't work. Oh my gosh. So,
awful.
I mean,
awful.
Is it? I mean, so you talk about not using scripts and like actually getting to know someone. And I feel like most teams are trained, not necessarily the opposite, because we always still say like you need to treat them like a human being, but we're all trained to like you memorize the scripts and you learn all the things. So what are you just hiring the right person that already knows how to speak to people, or are you training them in some of those traits, or both?
A little bit of both, mostly just training them. Just because we're finding people that don't necessarily know anything about anything. I was going to say the S word about S word. But yeah, so I mean, we're really just training them on the things that they need to be doing because what it comes down to is making sure that they have the right scripts. And with us doing database management and the DCM program through Digital Maverick, we really give them all of the scripts and all of the like templates that they can use to like overcome objections with texting and emailing and things like that. But realistically, if it's going to be verbal, I mean, you can help people really understand like what they're really doing when it comes to language. I watched Nikki talk to an ISA yesterday and really help him identify what he's doing wrong in his language. And he sent an end of day report to us yesterday, and he ended up getting his first appointment through a PPC lead, and he was so excited. And I was like, I can probably directly correlate that with the fact that Nikki was able to help him just with his language. You know what I mean? And it was really, really, really awesome to see. So it's like all it does is, and it was her just even picking out how many times he said you know what I mean? Just little things like that. And she was doing it, like counting it, like as he's doing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. But he started to get really conscious of it, and he started to really, and she said it perfectly, and I'm not going to steal it, but I'm going to steal it. Thank you, Nikki. Shout out to you. But she was just like, every time you feel as if you're going to say, just go quiet. Just don't say it. Just where you think you're going to say it, just go silent and then get the next words out, and then go silent and then get the next words out. And you could hear him do it, and it was so perfect, and it just flowed so well. And I was like, I am always now going to forever remember what she said. And she's never said that to me before, but I'm always like, wow, I got to really figure out my language and how I do these things. So yeah, it's just super cool to have those types of people here, like at Digital Maverick, you know what I mean? Just different language skills, just people that know different things, just to help everybody. Cause you know what I mean? Like I can give that person all the texting scripts in the world to help them overcome objections, set his database up forever. But when he does get on a call, like what's to expect? It's like, that's where we have the talent around us to make sure that they can overcome objections and stuff. So.
Yeah, we're 100% building a really awesome team over there. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, I want to hear a little bit about Digital Maverick and what you're doing at DCM. You know, the listeners we have on, if they obviously know what an ISA is, but you're doing something very unique. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, Digital Maverick with the different offerings that they present is like, you know what I mean? They have like AdWords, they have the recruiting platform, they have CRM set up, but my big thing is DCM. Like that's where I'm really just ingrained to doing, meeting with the different CEOs and helping them figure out their database. You know what I mean? I get every call I get on, it's like, we just have a problem. And that problem is our database. We have all these leads, we just haven't been working it right. I've been told you're the guy to help us with it. So that's where we come in and we look at that sort of thing, and all of them, they're like, well, we have an ISA. And I'm like, well, okay, is your ISA department profitable? And they're like, I have no idea. Just like, I'm like, well, let's start there. That would be good. But I mean, it really boils down to just not having the right person in the right seats. And I mean, we're able to outsource into different areas to find the right person that can work for 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? That can just be in the database to send texts and emails to overcome objections. And I know people be like, well, who's calling? It's like, well, the answer rate's like 6% on a phone call right now. So I'd rather have someone get a 64% on the text message than a 6% on a phone call, right? Now, that's just what it comes down to, especially with these large databases. It's such a numbers game. So the more no's we get, closer we are to a yes. And if you only get a couple of no's over the phone, it's going to take you a lot longer to get a yes over the phone, just because of how many, and that's just what we always see. So I wanted to and being an ISA for 7 years, I wanted to take over the ISA position from a lot of people, but like I was always stuck with like one team. And I like wasn't allowed to be like, I'm an ISA for everybody, because that would just, some people looked at it wrong. Yeah. Right. But this allowed me, and partnering with like John and Preston, it allowed me to really expand like my reach to be an ISA for multiple teams in multiple states, and allow me to put my input into their database just to see them work it and really excel with it, because I knew what I was able to help them out with was just going to work. So I was just like, how can I help more teams? So yeah.
So fun. And I feel like you shared this at one of the Chet Black events, but like how many text messages have you guys sent over the last couple of months? Do you remember that number?
Yes, we're at 3. Like I can do the math now where we're at right now. So doing about 300 times. So we're doing about 4 million texts and emails since we started.
See, no one could do that themselves. There's no way that your agents would go in and send that many text messages. Like there's no way they would do it.
And it's been 106 days.
Oh my gosh. That's
started.
Crazy.
So it's been fun.
Well, that's super exciting. Okay, I'm going to pivot a little bit.
Deal.
What is the funniest thing that has ever happened to you in real estate?
Funniest thing that had ever happened to me in real estate. It was when I realized that being an ISA was just so much fun. I got yelled at so bad. It was so bad. I sent a text message to someone, and she called me, and she just basically cursed me out, yelled at me for like an hour straight, and I just never got off the phone because I don't hang up on people. I just wanted her to get her whatever she was going through. I just wanted to let her get it out. But it's boiled down to the fact that she just was like, why did you call me? You shouldn't be calling me. I was like, ma'am, I never called you. I sent you a text message because I didn't want to bother you with calling you because you probably didn't want to be called.
Yeah.
And she just ended up going off on me to the point where we actually ended up meeting up for coffee. And she ended up, and me, out of all people, I don't meet clients ever. I'm an ISA. Like, I never like want to meet clients, never do that. But like, I finally was able to get it to the point where she was just like, well, then like, what do you do? Blah, 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 like all this stuff. And like, kind of like, this is like 30 minutes into the call. And then I was finally just like, yeah, he's like, I'm here, Myrtle Beach. She's like, blah, 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 going off on these things. Like, well, maybe you can help us with our stuff that we have going on. Like, we have a database full of people she was like from a different sales company, and like she was trying to figure things out. And I'm like, man. So I ended up meeting up with her, got coffee. She was really nice when I met with her in person. She sells linen. So I was just like, but we were able to help her out. I think they were using Salesforce, or they were using something, but they just like, she was just brand new to it. I guess she was just going through a tough time, but it's just fun because I realized everybody's going through something. That's why it's like, whenever I get a phone call or a spam phone call, a lot of the times I'll answer it. And if it's a robot, I'll hang up. But if it's a real person, it's like trying to sell me on something, I'll listen to like their pitch and just listen to them and not like be rude. Just because I would hate for someone to be rude to me. You know what I mean? I hate when they were rude to me all the time. So I'm like, someone's going through something, but yeah.
Right? I love how you took something that would maybe make someone else cry, and you took it and like turned it into such like a positive, funny moment. That's so funny to me. And then she asks for your help business-wise.
That was great. Yeah, life is too good to get mad at things. I feel like I just can't anymore. It's no need to get upset or angry or get super, super pissed. Just laugh it off and move on with life.
Well, we only have one life, right? And
It's true.
We're going to get yelled at.
Yeah, it's going to happen a lot. I mean, some of the text messages we receive are hilarious, and I'm just like reading them like, what is going on? So I get all the responses. So for every database that we're in, everything runs to me personally. So I see it all the time.
So funny. Well, Travis, it was great having you on the podcast. If anybody wants to reach out to you, maybe to either talk to you about their conversion, or if they want to get more information about DCM, where's the best place for them to reach you?
Just Travis. I think it's Travis Jeffrey Halverson on Facebook. I don't know what it is. That's my middle name. So I don't know. And then it is Travis Halverson on Instagram with 3 N's. Travis Halverson. That's
show notes.
Click the link. You find it anywhere you see it. So yep, all the different places.
Awesome. And I'll put some information on DCM in the show notes too, just in case you want to book a call with Travis. So thanks, Travis. It was great having you on.
Appreciate you. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.